Does anybody actually want self-driving cars? Now, I've questioned this. I keep seeing this in automotive news, and of course Tesla and different companies are trying to come up with like a self-driving car, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you want to give up control over a vehicle to a computer? And it's like your life is on the line. That's one thing. I mean, that's the key thing. The second thing is driving a car is enjoyable to most people that I know, and I'm just perplexed on this issue. I don't understand, where's the big market for people that are demanding self-driving cars? I don't think I've ran across a single person that actually thinks that's a good idea. So I'm curious as to, is anybody on my channel think that's a great idea to sit in a car and allow it to drive you at highway speeds and regular speeds through traffic lights, there's pedestrians and all that stuff, without you being in control. As you know, as a driver, when you're driving, there's a split-second decisions you have to make sometimes. And you're not going to be able to, even if you're sitting behind a wheel in which you can take over at any time, sometimes you may not be able to. For one thing, you'd have to be paying attention. What's the point of having the car drive itself if you're just staying there, paying attention to every little detail anyway? Might as well just go ahead and drive it yourself. Another thing is you won't be able to take control of the vehicle fast enough, in my estimation, to avoid some kind of accident or something, since there's split-second decisions that have to be made, and if it makes the wrong decision, I don't get it. Now, I do understand, like a lane keeping assist type system, in which it will, help you steer the vehicle in your lane. If you're steering out, for whatever reason, you let go of your steering wheel, or maybe an autonomous braking, in which, if there's a vehicle in front of you and you don't stop in time, or if you're not paying attention or whatever, it's going to apply the brakes. These type of safety features make sense to me, but complete self-driving car doesn't make any sense. Now, I can understand, of course, cruise control is kind of like a similar type of thing, where you're allowing the vehicle to take over a certain function. But completely driving at 100%, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't understand why companies are sinking so much time and effort and everything into this particular feature, and because what's the payoff? I mean, even some of the features that are in vehicles now, people don't even use it anyway, So like the lane keeping assist, from what my understanding is, most people a lot of people turn that off because it's annoying, because it's pulling on the steering wheel. Sometimes if you're driving and it's constantly tugging back and forth, or if you want to change lanes and you forget to turn the signal on, it's going to jerk the steering wheel and stuff like that. It could be an issue, So a lot of that stuff's turned off. Even the adaptive cruise control, in which I think is a pretty good idea, but some people don't like that either. They don't like to use it, because when a vehicle slows down in front of them, it slows them down, and then when they get out of the way, it kind of like floors it to get back up to the original speed. So it's like very abrupt, and you're not, and you're unless you're aware of it, or unless you're used to it or whatever, it's kind of disturbing to have a vehicle make changes in the way you want the vehicle to behave without you controlling it. So a lot of these features are turned off anyway by people, and the whole self-driving car where you just get in and it just drives you around, I mean, really, I don't understand why anybody would want that. I mean, I've seen videos of people getting in a Tesla and it driving them to places, and it's like, what's the point? I mean, it's like, I would buy a Tesla to drive the thing, not to let it drive me around. That doesn't make any sense. If I want, I'll just get a taxi, okay? If I want somebody else to drive me around, I'll get a taxi, or something like that, actually have another person drive. And that way, I mean, it's kind of like, I know there's a lot of computers involved with airplanes. Okay, airplanes, there's a lot of computers involved, but there is a pilot behind in the cockpit. There's a pilot and a co-pilot. Now, imagine getting on a plane with no pilot and co-pilot, and everybody sitting in their chairs. They don't know what the heck's going on, and the computer controlling everything. Would you feel comfortable with that, with no pilot and co-pilot? Ultimately, who's responsible? For one thing, who's responsible if you're sitting in a self-driving car and it hits somebody and kills somebody, or it damages property? Who's responsible? Are you responsible? Well, ultimately, I guess you would have to be. You're in the car, and it's your car. But you have a plausible deniability, because now it's like, well, maybe the manufacturer is responsible because they designed the self-driving car, and there was a flaw or something with the design in this decision making, or the AI or whatever. So it becomes blurry there with the responsibility. So I want somebody that's responsible, and that's in control, and not some program that we all know has problems. Computers, cell phones, any kind of digital device, even cars, of course, with the all the technology they're putting in cars. Obviously, that's caused problems with reliability scores, with say the infotainment and all the different features. They have to work through the software and all that stuff. So that's caused problems with people going back to the dealership to have their whatever reflashed or fixed or whatever. So obviously, if you have an issue with your software while you're driving on the highway going 70 miles an hour on some freeway, and there's a glitch in the software, and it could be fatal. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So maybe you can explain it to me. Maybe somebody can explain this to me in a way that that makes sense. But so far, it makes no sense, and I cannot think of a reason why. I can understand maybe, some people, there's a couple people out there that think this is okay, but enough to sink billions or millions or whatever they're putting into the automotive industry, trying to get to this goal of self-driving cars, doesn't make any sense. Like, do they have like polling people, and they say, hey, well, you want a self-driving car? It's like, or where's the demand? That's typically, companies have features because there's a demand for that feature, or at least they anticipate a demand. Where's the objective reasoning, or the objective validation of that demand? I just don't see it anywhere. I haven't met anybody that's really serious about that. They might think, oh, that's kind of neat, but when they actually put them in a car that drives themselves, probably not going to feel it's the neatest thing in the world. It's going to be kind of scary, and I would absolutely empathize with that particular perspective. So anyways, let me know in the comments what you think. Maybe you can put a link in there. Maybe there's some research. Maybe there's something that you can provide that will justify this type of thing, and why, explain, of course, my dilemma, and why it's bothering me. So maybe there's something out there that's like, hey, here's the research, here's the amount of consumers that want this product, here's the safety ratings on it, and here's the something that I haven't been able to find anyways. So anyways, thanks for watching.